Hey everyone, this is Kayla Martin Gant, and I am the Continuing Education Coordinator for the Mississippi Library Commission. This is part 2 of my series on social media for libraries, and today we're going to be talking about all the basic ins and outs of Facebook. So first I'm going to go over just like a really brief introduction of what Facebook is, and then cover how it works, some of the best ways to utilize Facebook tools for marketing, and then some statistics and analytics and how to access those. So what is Facebook? Uh, Facebook, pretty much everybody already has one. It's a really great starting point for libraries who are really unfamiliar with social media marketing and just social media in general, because Facebook is pretty ubiquitous. Everybody has a Facebook account, and it's very rare that people don't. Most libraries already have a Facebook page, even if they don't use it much. Even if it's not everybody's favored social media platform, pretty much like everybody either has one or at the very least knows how to use one. So if that's the case, then why aren't libraries using Facebook as much as they could be and really getting its fullest potential out of it? And for most, I think it's just because they don't necessarily know and understand all of the tools that Facebook has that can help them with marketing their library. So that's what we're going to cover today. So how it works. First, you have Facebook pages. This is the main thing most of you will be familiar with. Facebook pages, they're basically like Facebook profiles, but they're for a business or organization, sometimes public figures. People have to like and follow your page to see updates and posts. And the thing is, Facebook uses algorithms. It's always trying to streamline and organize content in a way that will get its users to use it more. So the people who like and follow your page, that doesn't mean that they're going to see all of your posts, because what Facebook does is it bases what you see first on your recent activity. So if you start really liking a certain subject, or you like a lot of posts from specific people or specific pages, that's what's going to turn up in your feed first, because it wants to feed you more of what you like. This means that if you want your page to be seen and seen regularly, you have to increase your engagement. And this is one of the biggest issues for libraries. We don't, by and large, engage with our audiences like we should, which means not only are we not building that relationship, but it also means like all of our stuff is just getting pushed to the bottom of the pile. So Facebook groups. Facebook groups are very different from Facebook pages, because if a page is sort of like a profile for an entity or an organization, a group, it's geared toward like a specific interest, idea, or a goal. It can be created by just about anyone, not just public organizations. It usually has at least one administrator. Well, it has to have at least one administrator, but then it usually has a few moderators, depending on the size of the group, that help enforce the rules and help keep everything in line. And then mostly it features content by the community in the group. A lot of you are familiar with Facebook groups, you just may not be familiar with everything that goes on behind the scenes for Facebook groups, but they're pretty easy to maintain. So some examples of Facebook groups for libraries. They could be clubs, like, you could take your reading and writing clubs online onto a Facebook group. You can do gaming and crafting, art and photography, pretty much anything you can think of, you can turn into a Facebook group. You just have to keep it actually in use and engaged. There can also be organizational subgroups, like your teen advisory board could have a Facebook group. And especially right now, since we're doing everything virtually, that could be a good way to keep your teen advisory board going and keeping it regular. Same with your Friends of the Library groups or library departmental groups. This is especially useful, I think, if you are not just a singular library, but you're in a library system, especially a large library system. You could have a Facebook group, say, for all of the youth services, or depending on the size of your library system, you could have a whole group for like your reference departments or your young adult departments, and that could be a place where across the whole system they can organize and share ideas and really kind of be on the same page and make a lot of your library systems programming and tools for that particular group to be more uniform. And also you could do professional development Facebook groups for staff development, or if you're all, attending a conference, or if you're putting on a conference, you can do Facebook groups for those as well. So when it comes to publishing content on your Facebook pages and Facebook groups, you have a few options. This is just the basic introductory options. I'm going to get into like the tools you actually use to do all this in a minute, but you can schedule posts and events. You can like duplicate your events so that you don't have to like redo it all from scratch every time. And for those of you who may not know, if you are just like brand new to Facebook, you have, posts where you just write a thing, or, you write a thing and put a picture in it and you post that, and that exists and that like ends up in people's feed. But then you have, you can create photo albums, and you can create Facebook events, which have a time and a date. They have, a cover photo. You can describe the event. You can put extra details in there, and if people are interested or they are intending to come, it will remind them like as that goes. And also you can reshare that event several times if you need to, leading up to the event. And plus it stays in the event section on your actual page so that it doesn't just get totally lost in people's feed. But you can duplicate those so that you don't have to start totally from scratch. So it's like if you've got an event that's got like multi-days to it, or is, kind of a monthly thing, but it's like a special event, that'll just save you a little bit of time. You can also boost your posts or events, and I'll get into that more in a minute. But you also have announcements, which are pretty much exactly what they say on the tin. Those go for Facebook pages, but also those are particularly useful for Facebook groups. Like say you are updating the rules, or say there's like a specific maybe event or a specific challenge or task for the group. You can put it in an announcement. And in a similar vein, you can have pinned posts, which are posts that you want to make sure that people see immediately, like as soon as they hit the page or the group. So you just pin those to the top. It's kind of like putting it on a cork board. In Facebook groups, you can also upload files. Those are particularly useful for like for a writing group or an art group, or when we were talking about those interdepartmental groups, you can, share PDFs, and you can share, files, and have all of that content be available for everybody to utilize however they need to. And also Facebook has direct ties to Instagram because Facebook owns Instagram. That's how Instagram came around. So there's a lot of really easy options to go back and forth between Facebook and Instagram with your content. So boosted posts, like I talked about a minute ago, these are basically just ads that you create directly from posts on your Facebook page. Like you have Facebook ads, which you would create separately, but then boosted posts are paid ads where you are taking a post you already created or an event you already created, and you are paying as little as you want. I think it's as little as $1 a day, and for a specific number of days. And you're boosting that post to a wider audience. So the idea is for like a specific post to hopefully get more engagement and to reach people who are likely to be interested in your page but haven't liked or followed it yet for whatever reason. You can put more money, obviously, than $1 a day into it. The more money you spend, the wider the net is of people that you can possibly engage. So this can be a really useful tool if you understand how it works and you know how to use it. So another tool that you have at your disposal is Facebook Live, which is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's you live and broadcasting this video to your Facebook page. You can also stream it to YouTube. Facebook gives you that option. They make it really easy for you to put it on multiple platforms, but the idea is for it to broadcast from your Facebook page. And you have a couple of options with that. A lot of people do like watch parties where you're all watching a similar broadcast together. A lot of people do like webinars or tutorials. They do those live on Facebook, and people can post their questions or can react to the video. Since the pandemic, a lot of librarians have been doing story times over Facebook Live, or doing, children's events and that kind of stuff over Facebook Live. But on that note, when it comes to organizing these videos, you do have a couple of options. You can create a playlist or you can create a series, and I'm going to explain the difference between those two. So a playlist is a collection of videos that share a theme versus a series, which is a collection of episodes that are all part of the same content series, which those sound really, really similar, and they are, but there are a few key differences. So with a playlist, you can do a cover image. You can whenever you click playlist, it'll open a list of videos like in that whole playlist. A video can belong to multiple playlists. For a series, you can put them in chronological order. You can have like different structures. You can create a trailer for it and a cover image. Clicking series will open up a list of episodes in the series plus any trailers you've created for them. And in a series, an episode can only belong to one series. So like here are some examples. A playlist could be like a playlist of story times that all have to do with animals, or a playlist of tutorials that all focus on library databases. Whereas a series could be like a series of episodes of a seasonal crafting program, where they could be standalone crafts, or it could be one craft over a period that you have to watch in order. So basically think of the series as kind of like a TV show. Whether or not the episodes, all flow into one another or they're kind of standalone, that doesn't really matter. But they all are like the same content, whereas a playlist isn't necessarily the same content, but it all kind of goes together thematically. So now we get into like some of the actual tools that you need to be utilizing. So first you have the business manager. Now with a business manager account, you can bring in other people and they can have access to the page and the account and all of that based on whatever amount of access you give them, essentially. So you can see who all's working on what. And basically, it brings together all of the staff that you want involved on that particular account, but without everybody having to share their personal login information. Because prior to like the business manager account, basically everybody had to give you their email and their password and like all of their sign-in information for Facebook, and then you would attach them that way. But this way you can attach certain accounts to the business manager account, and they can be granted access to like specific parts of the account as whatever you're comfortable with. So this is essentially like a two-tiered system. First, you add people to the business manager, and then you can grant them access to like different assets in the business settings. So it's like some people may have access to the ad accounts, but they wouldn't necessarily have access to like the actual page in order to post things. So basically, say you are the administrator, you're the one that's handling the entire business manager account, you can add several people on and give them employee status. And then you can give them specific access to do specific tasks. So that way you're essentially divvying up the workload and you're delegating, but you're not running the risk of people getting into things they're not supposed to, or accidentally doing something that they shouldn't be doing in terms of what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do on the page. And also, you can see what everybody's doing, how far they are on a specific task, all of that. You can see everything. So that makes it a lot easier to manage certain parts of your social media account. On that note, that's like the part of like the managerial part. What we have now is the Creator Studio. The Creator Studio, it's essentially Facebook's content manager for pages and Instagram. You can access it both on desktop, and there is a mobile app. And it's very, very useful because you can, much like with the business manager, you assign roles for different access levels and different tasks. But what's also really cool about this is even though people are like creating content and scheduling content and doing everything, you know, for what's going on the page, they can all be on the Creator Studio at the same time on different devices, because it all syncs up together. It's kind of like working together on a single document in Google Drive, but a lot more complicated because there are a lot of tools in Creator Studio. So with Creator Studio, you can schedule your content and you can also monetize your content. As a library, you won't be doing that, but that is an option. Like I mentioned a second ago, you can assign roles for different access levels. You can also track all of your insights and analytics in Creator Studio, and you can do that both for Facebook and for Instagram. You can also create directly inside the app with the content library. You can upload things into the content library to utilize there, or you can use what Facebook already provides and is available in the content library, and then you can create things directly in the Creator Studio and post it from there. And this also includes profile frames, which is something that libraries should definitely be jumping on because that's pretty much like free advocacy and advertising, creating a profile frame for your library. And Creator Studio will also give you suggested hashtags to go with the content that you're creating. And I've linked here Facebook. It's the official interactive guide for understanding Creator Studio. They have whole lessons, that you go through to really teach you how to use this. And I will be providing that link for those of you who are viewing this on YouTube and not getting this in an email. So just check the video notes for that. Okay, so best practices when it comes to Facebook. Here are some general tips to follow. First of all, you need to be posting regularly, not constantly. You don't want to be just clogging people's feed with stuff. I covered that in part 1. Don't post stuff just to post stuff, but do post regularly. Be casual but not unprofessional. There is a middle ground there that you can definitely walk, and that's what you want to do. You want to be friendly, you want to be approachable, even as a pseudo faceless entity Facebook account, but you do still want to be professional. Make sure that you reply to comments, whether they are good or bad. Make sure you reply as quickly as possible. That shows that you are present, that you are paying attention, and that you care enough to actually answer people, which is how you get them to engage with you more, even if they're mad, even if it's a negative comment about, something going on at your library. Figure out what it is you need to say, and then do that as quickly as possible. because people will respond positively to that. Even if they are upset with something, they will appreciate a timely response. Make sure you are utilizing visuals and multimedia options. Attention spans are definitely difficult to keep, especially when it comes to social media. So make sure that you're not just posting text. Make sure you are including interesting photographs and interesting videos. You know, keep it interesting, change it up. When you do have text posts, or at least a lot of text in a particular post, in addition to other things, make sure you keep that relatively short. Facebook is not the place for you to like write out a whole tutorial or, you know, put 8 book reviews in a row. That can go in a blog post along with some really cool visuals. If you're going to put that on Facebook, you can put like a little preview of one of your book reviews, especially if it's something particularly interesting or funny that you're saying in that review. Attach a cool visual, have people read more on your blog. And make sure, again, like just to wrap all of this up, that you engage with your patrons. Talk to them. If they are responding to your posts, talk with them. Keep it going. So for video tips, make sure that you keep your thumbnails eye-catching. If you need to, you can create your own thumbnail, which for those of you who don't necessarily know what a thumbnail is essentially the little picture that whenever the video is paused, like before anybody's watched it, that's the sort of preview picture for whatever it is. And there are tools like Canva. I'm going to talk about that in part 5, some different tools for making all this happen. But Canva has like a billion templates where you can create your own YouTube thumbnail. So make sure that that is eye-catching and interesting. Make sure that the technical specifications are right for your video, as in the format and resolution. You don't want it to be super blurry and pixely. You don't want it to be glitchy. You don't want it to look like the amazing, iconic Sasquatch video. Make sure that you, especially when you are doing videos, make sure that you design for mobile use, because things that are designed for mobile use can transfer over to desktop in terms of how it looks after you've posted it way better than things that you design on a desktop and then try to move over to mobile. And since most people are using all of these platforms on mobile anyway, it just really benefits you to design with that in mind. On that note, design for sound off viewing, but add captions, because a lot of people may be scrolling through and, you know, they don't have headphones, or they're listening to something else, or they're just walking around. They can't turn on the sound. Make sure that you are designing an interesting video that doesn't need sound, but is enhanced with sound. And then like YouTube automatically puts in or allows you to automatically put in captions. Make sure you're captioning your videos. Also, use interesting and appropriate tags, titles, and content descriptions. When it comes to Facebook and their algorithms, like I've mentioned already, make sure that you are titling your videos correctly, that you've got good but brief content descriptions, and that you're using appropriate tags, because that will make your videos discoverable. So some content ideas. This is definitely not an exhaustive list, but for Facebook, you could do polls and contests. And it doesn't have to be anything super well thought out. I think at MLC for Father's Day, we either did it on Facebook or Instagram. We may have done both, where it was, you know, just who of these 5 literary dads would you prefer to have as your dad? It can be, you know, something as simple and easy as that. But people love small stuff like that. And you can also encourage people to defend their choice in the comments, because that's always a good time. On that note, you can ask them questions, and it can be very, fun, goofy questions to actual useful like market research questions. Ask them, what they are interested in seeing at the library. What is their favorite program that they've attended at the library? What do they wish that you did more often? You can do writing and art prompts. You can do show and tell. I would always encourage a library to ask their patrons to show them their pets, because that's always a good time. Everybody loves to see pets. It's a very easy way to get some fun, cute interaction, and then you get to look at small furry animals. That's always a good time. You can, like I mentioned earlier with the blog post for book reviews, you can essentially use Facebook as a way to promote your more long form content. Obviously, you don't want to be doing that constantly, but that's part of what your social media channels are for. You can talk about holidays and anniversaries, whether they're like big national holidays or local anniversaries, or they're, goofy things like Donut Day. And you can do different graphics and different stuff for that. Like the strange, interesting national observances are perfect for content generation, and they're great ways to push titles in your collection that people might not realize exist. You can also always do new material announcements, and do event reminders. Before you have an event, make sure you're reminding people of that event, because like they may see it, but it doesn't hurt to do a reminder or two. So now on to your analytics parts of Facebook. You have Facebook Insights. When you are on your Facebook page, there will be a little gear wheel at the top. You just click that and hit select View Insights. What you're going to see are the likes and engagements on your posts. You're going to see the number of friends of page fans, which are like the people that have liked and followed your page, how many friends they have, because that's telling you your potential reach. You're going to see your page mentions and just a general kind of analysis of your reach and virality of like certain posts that you made. Now, what this stuff is going to tell you after you've analyzed it and looked at all of the numbers, it'll tell you the best times of day to post, how often and what days are best for you to post, according to like what days and what times people engage with your content the most. It'll tell you what content types to post. What are people apparently most interested in? What do they engage with the most? What post formats people seem to like the most? What do they click on? What do they linger on? It'll tell you the demographic information of people that are currently engaging with your page. And it'll also kind of give you an insight into those fans' other interests. That's all I've got for this one today. This is my contact information. Again, I'm Kayla Martin Gant, the Continuing Education Coordinator at the Mississippi Library Commission. That is my email address, and that's my phone number to my office. You can always email or call me if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.